Good evening, everybody. It's a fantastic evening, a great one. I'm really, truly grateful to the returning officer, grateful to my ward, my constituents, Radford. I'm grateful to my city, I'm grateful to my community, most of all, my team, my campaign team, my manager, Tony Skipper. He's been immensely helpful and he ran a good campaign together with my other ward members and my colleagues and my friends and my families. What can I say? It's just been a truly wonderful campaign, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Declaration of results of poll Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Upper Stoke on Thursday, 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer of the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Cooper Gary Ronald, Coventry Citizens Party, 247. Falston Laura Catherine, commonly known as Vesti Laura Catherine, Green Party, 356. Kaur Amajit, Labour Party, 1,671 elected. Rossa Terry J, commonly known as Rossa Terry, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 67. Sohal Gurdeep Singh, Conservative Party candidate, 492. The number of ballot papers rejected were as follows: want of official mark, 0. Voting for more than one candidate, 5. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or uncertainty, 9. Rejected in part, 0. Total 14. The vacancy, 1. Electorate, 13357. Ballot papers issued, 2,847. Turnout was 21.31%. And I do hereby declare that Amritjit Kaur is duly elected.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to thank the returning officer and all the staff for making today run so smoothly. Thanks also to Liz and all her team for all their support over the last few months. Councillor Cameron Khan, my agent, and Councillor Gurdeep Singh Hare, what can I say? In the short time I have known you, you both are exceptional, amazing individuals. Thank you for all your support, encouragement, and guidance throughout my campaign. Thank you for believing in me and trusting me and being there for me when the going was tough, because none of this would have been possible without your support and hard work. I'd like to thank my family for their continued support. I want to take this opportunity to thank our great leader, George Duggins, for his continued support over the years. I'm so honoured and privileged to have been elected as a councillor for Upper Stoke, and I would like to thank everyone that put their trust in me and voted for me. I'm ever so proud of this victory, but this victory is not just for me, it's for a victory for the people of Upper Stoke and the Labour Party. There are many challenges and issues in Upper Stoke, and I assure you that I will work with Councillor Cameron Khan and Councillor Gurdeep Singh Hare to resolve as many issues as possible with the cooperation of the community and the council. Thank you.
Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Wykin on Thursday, 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Berry Russell, Green Party, 327. Islam Samool, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 32. Single William John, Conservative Party candidate, 924. Sufyan Idrissi, Reform UK, 93. Fay Robert Richard, Labour Party, 1,549. Williams Lorna, Coventry Citizens Party, 176. Want of official mark, 0. Voting for more than one candidate, 2. Writing or mark by which vote could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 8. And rejected in part, 0. So there was 10 rejected ballot papers. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate was 12418. Ballot papers issued, 3,111. Turnout was 25.05%. And I do hereby declare that Robert Richard Fay is duly elected.
I'll make this a quick one. Firstly, I'd like to thank the people of Wykin for voting for me again. Secondly, I'd like to thank my agent Angela and my colleague Faye for all the help they've given me. Thirdly, I'd like to thank my son Dylan, who came out leafleting for the first time and who's told me I need to win tonight. And lastly, I'd like to just thank the rest of my family and the Labour group. Thank you very much.
Could we please have candidates and election agents for Wayne Body Ward to the Legends Lounge for the provisional results? That's candidates and election agents for Wayne Body Ward to the Legends Lounge for provisional results. Thank you very much.
Declaration of result of poll Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Henley on Thursday the 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer of the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Karni Fishtami Farzad, commonly known as Mishke Farzad, the Conservative Party candidate, 659. O'Toole Aidan Spencer, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 51. Seaman Patricia, Labour Party, 2017. Waitebot Catherine Elizabeth, commonly known as Waitebot Cathy, Green Party, 279. Watts Thomas Craig, Coventry Citizens Party, 215. The number of ballots rejected was as follows: want of official mark, 0, voting for more than one candidate, 11, writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0, being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 10, rejected in part, 0, total 21. Vacant seats was 1, electorate was 14795, ballot papers issued 3242, turnout was 21.91%, and I do hereby declare that Patricia Seaman is duly elected.
What a truly humbling experience it is to be re-elected once again by the residents in Henley Ward, a community that I care deeply about and one that I commit to representing to my utmost commitment and abilities going forward. I would like to thank the returning officer, the police that have been worked really hard today. We've seen them out and about all around the ward. All of our fantastic staff at the count and at the polling stations for all of their hard work in making sure that the democratic process has been followed today. On the front row here, we have my fantastic agent, John, my amazing, incredible husband, David, who is a one-man delivery machine. My very good friends, Paul and Sue, have been so vital in the campaign in helping us. And my campaign manager, Christine, for all her support, good advice and guidance, and keeping me sane during this campaign. So since 2015, it's been my greatest privilege and honour to serve the people of Henley Ward. And by re-electing me today, it is a clear message to this heartless and uncaring government in Westminster. Locally, we have shown, and you have shown, your support for the work of our Labour Council and the work that we do in Coventry. Despite savage cuts to our budgets again and again, 120 million per annum, accumulative since 2010, you do the maths, it's too big a number for me. So, we have worked tirelessly to keep essential services, to keep supporting those in most need. In my surgery this week, I had a gentleman, 75 years of age, he won't mind me saying, in tears, because he's worked all of his life. He's contributed all of his life, and for the first time, he's dependent on having support to pay his energy bills, to feed himself. This shouldn't be happening. This should not be happening. We need a new government. We need it now. Thank you. I would like to thank Henley Ward and the Labour Party, Branch Labour Party, for their faith in me. And more importantly, I give my gratitude to the voters And I will continue to work hard for them, and I continue to fight on a daily basis to make sure that those in need get the support that they require, and that our local council, our Labour Council, does the best that we can in terms of delivering services at these most difficult times. Thank you, everybody.
Could we have candidates and election agents for Bingley and Willenhall and Earlston wards to the Legends Lounge for provisional results? That's candidates and election agents for Bingley and Willenhall and Earlston wards to the Legends Lounge for provisional results. That's Bingley and Willenhall and Earlston. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now ready to make the declaration for Fozil Ward. The declaration for Fozil Ward is coming shortly.
Declaration result of poll Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Foleshill on Thursday, the 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer of the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Khan Abdul Salam, the Labour Party candidate, 2,409. Mathru Manit Kaur, commonly known as Mathru Mila, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 213. Taylor Kenneth John, commonly known as Taylor Ken, Conservative Party candidate, 446. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows. Want of an official mark, 0. Voting for more candidates than voter was entitled to, 12. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 14. Rejected in part, 0. Total 26. Vacant seats 1. Electorate 13576. Ballot papers issued 3094. Turnout was 22.79%, and I do hereby declare that Abdul Salam Khan is duly elected.
Thank you. Speakers on. Hello, good evening, and thank you very much to the returning officer. I'd like to begin by thanking the returning officer for running what is her first election, and I think looking at the time we're at the moment, just going past 10 past 2, I think Julie should have been the returning officer for the last 10 elections, because for so many years we've been going home at 4 or 5 o'clock and later. So I want to thank Julie for the work she's done, Liz Reid for the work she's done, all of the election staff here tonight, and all of those that were at the polling stations with the very challenging situation where members of the public were required for the first time in elections to provide identification. And I know in Fozil many people who went to vote were unfortunately unable to vote because they didn't have the correct identification with them at the time. And I'm certain that some of those who went determined to vote for Labour did not return, and that is a shame. But I believe that is a policy, a deliberate policy of the Conservative government, and they've achieved their goal certainly this time round. Hopefully next time we'll have more preparation, more time to prepare and hope resolve that issue to some extent. Now, I also want to thank my election agent, Pervez Akhtar, who did his best to help me win this election, despite the fact that he had his own election. And unfortunately this year, I managed to hurt my foot when campaigning for colleagues. So I want to apologize to colleagues because I wasn't able to join in for most of the cycle of campaigning this year because of the injury I sustained to my foot. But and I want to thank my sons for the work they did for me because I couldn't do my own campaigning this year. I want to give a special thanks to Mr. Ilyas Dean, who is the chairman of the Fawzal Ward Labour Party, without whom I have no doubt the results for me would have been less clear. Last year, we were able to secure a victory with a majority of 67, and this year we've secured a majority of almost 2,000. And that's a testament to the work Mr. Dean does throughout the year in bringing casework to us and asking us to help local residents. But obviously, candidates who make themselves available to residents throughout the year will always do better at the polls. I want to congratulate also all of those candidates, my colleagues who have been re-elected this year, whose declarations are yet to be made. And congratulations and thank you to all the activists we have who work on behalf of all of the Labour Party in Coventry, whether they stand for election themselves or they don't. This is my 5th occasion when I've returned to the stage at the CBS Arena and have made my thanksgiving speech for being re-elected by the people of Fawzal. And there's been many changes over the years. Over the last 13 years, we've had a Conservative government imposed upon us, and residents in Coventry have seen the policies which the Conservative government pursue, reducing funding to local authorities continuously and relentlessly, leading to a cut in the services that we can provide. I want to pay tribute to my colleague Richard Brown, Cabinet Member for Finance. For all the time he's been a Cabinet Member, he's been able to manage the finances, balance the books on behalf of the Labour Council, and before him, our late great friend, Councillor John Mutton, who also managed to balance the books. Looking ahead, there are going to be more challenges for us, and they're all going to stem from the fact that the finances we will be receiving from central government will be reduced year on year. The Conservative government have managed to trash the NHS, dismantle the police force, leave people waiting on hospital waiting lists, and now you have a situation where police do not turn up when they're called after a burglary. These are serious issues that need to be addressed, and I believe only a Labour government can address those concerns. In closing, I want to thank all of the officers who work with me and my colleagues in the council. I'm not going to name them because I think I'm going to forget some of the key ones, but remembering the brief ones, but just if you don't mention it, doesn't mean I don't appreciate the work you do. Obviously, Julie Newman, Julie Wheeler, Andrew Walster, Remy, it's almost like name that tune, but so I'm forgetting. But no, they're fantastic officers, and I think members, whether you're on the Labour side or the Conservative side, we shouldn't forget, without these officers, we would not be able to achieve the policies and priorities we want to achieve for our citizens in Coventry. I want to thank them. immensely for all the support they give to us to enable us to do the work we do for the public. Thank you very much, and thank you for voting Labour.
Could we please have candidates and election agents for Holbrook and Bablake wards to the Legends Lounge for provisional results? That's candidates and election agents for Holbrook and Bablake to the Legends Lounge. Holbrook and Bablake, please. Thank you.
Declaration of results of poll Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Lower Stoke on Thursday, the 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows: Escorigo Rodriguez Suarez Andre, Liberal Democrat, 201. Jewel, Thomas, James, Green Party, 335. McNicholas, John, Douglas, Labour and Cooperative Party, 2,142. O'Sullivan, John, Patrick, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 93. Ramidi Pripar Antha, commonly known as Reddy Pratibha, Conservative Party candidate, 890. Stringfellow Danielle, commonly known as Stringfellow Danny, Coventry Citizens Party, 190. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows: want of an official mark, 0. Voting for more candidates than voter is entitled to, 4. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 10. Rejected in part, 0. Total 14. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate 15729. Ballot papers issued, 3,865. Turnout was 24.57%, and I do hereby declare that John Douglas McNicholas is duly elected.
Good morning, everybody. Can I first of all take the opportunity of thanking Madam Returning Officer. I think that's an excellent step forward, and as Councillor Khan said earlier, I think we're an hour earlier than before, so a much improved system. So you've got a challenge, Julie, to improve it again next year. Can I thank the ERO and your staff? Can I also thank the candidates for standing in Lowestoft? And I must say it's been the coldest, wettest campaign I've ever known, and I'm glad it's over. Can I also thank my wife June, my wonderful team of Rupinder and Catherine, and also the Down Your Way team. To have a 56% result from the Lowestoft electorate, I think, is an achievement well worth celebrating, and we will. But the campaign starts next week for next year. I'll also take the opportunity of thanking Lowestoft residents and voters for their fantastic support. I pledge to continue to work for the communities of Lowestoft and the residents of Lowestoft as well. And I think finally, I would say Labour calls for a general election now. Thank you very much.
Declaration of result of poll Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Longford on Thursday, 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Bigham Linda Joyce, the Labour Party candidate, 1,991. Checklin Alan Norman Howard, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 56. Falston Daniel James, commonly known as Falston Danny, Green Party, 228. Sidhu William, the Conservative Party candidate, 521. Williamson Sean, Coventry Citizens Party, 150. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows. Want of official mark, 0. Voting for more candidates than voter was entitled to, 3. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 11. Rejected in part, 0. Total, 14. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate, 14248. Ballot papers issued, 2,960. Turnout was 20.77%. And I do hereby declare that Linda Joyce Bigham is duly elected.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Presiding Officer and all staff who've worked so wonderfully all the way through these elections, and particularly this evening. It's a very humbling thing when people put their trust in you, and it only makes you want to serve them even better than before. So I promise the people of Longford that I will continue to serve you and think of you in everything that I do. Coventry has the Coventry plan, the one Coventry plan, and it's for all of the people in Coventry who the Labour Party serves so well, despite the restrictions that fall on us by this Conservative government. We will continue to serve you well, and please continue to put your trust in us. I'd like to thank my agent, George, Lindsley, the Computer Harvard, everyone that's helped, and particularly my husband, who I think is possibly 3 inches shorter, having walked his legs off during this election. So thank you, everyone. I think I'll walk down the ramp. Yeah. Thank you.
Declaration of result of poll, Coventry, election of a City Councillor for St Michael's on Thursday, the 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Brown, Christine Lynn, commonly known as Brown Chrissy Lynn, Green Party, 176. Jones Benno David, Liberal Democrat, 135. Kalianides Ioannis, Conservative Party candidate, 313. Nellis David John, commonly known as Nellis Dave, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 221. O'Boyle James Matthew, commonly known as O'Boyle Jim, Labour Party candidate, 1,869. Wilson Karen, Coventry Citizens Party, 109. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows. Want of official mark, 1. Voting for more than one candidate than voter was entitled to, 6. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 5. Rejected in part, 0. Total 12. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate, 13143. Ballot papers issued, 2,835. Turnout was 21.57%. And I do hereby declare that James Matthew O'Boyle is duly elected.
Thank you, colleagues, and thank you, everybody. Can I thank Julie and her team for the work that they've done at the count tonight. I have to say it's been done in a very expeditious manner, and it's great to be finishing a lot earlier than we have done historically. Can I also thank all the polling staff agents, all the polling staff who've been working hard today to make sure people were able to cast their votes safely. And can I then firstly just say, firstly to my agent, Jason Brannigan, who's been my agent since 2003. What a wonderful job he does. Give him a round of applause. His work goes unheralded, it goes unseen, and but without Jason, we couldn't do the sort of work that we do as candidates and ultimately as councillors. So thank you very much, Jason. Can I also say thank you to my ward colleagues, Councillor David Welsh and Councillor Naeem Akhtar. They're a tremendous team to work for, and a credit to the Labour Party and a credit to St Michael's ward. Can I also thank my opponents in the election today. It was an election that was fought in the exact right sort of spirit that any election should be fought, and I just want to thank them for taking part. I just finally want to say, I'm not usually given like this, but believe it or not, this is actually the 25th year since I first stood for election, and I just don't feel that old, but it is. And can I say to anyone who stood today who hasn't been successful, that winning for the first time doesn't always come the first time. But when it does, it's worth waiting for. Keep on fighting, because trust me, if you work hard and you campaign hard and you do the right things, the electorate will thank you. And it's on that note I want to say that whilst we have won in St Michael's tonight, and the Labour Party in Coventry has done as well as it does across the city again this year, I think there is still room for improvement both locally and nationally, and it's clear to me that we should never ever take the electorate for granted, and we should work and fight for every single vote, both here in St Michael's, both in Coventry and both in the country. And I want to be part of that, to fight for every single vote, because the one thing the country's crying out for is a new government and a Labour government. And that's what we're going to achieve in the next 12 to 18 months. So thank you, colleagues.
Declaration of result of poll Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Woburley on Thursday, 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Akhtar Pervez, the Labour Party candidate, 1,871. Chahal Daljit Singh, commonly known as Chahal Del, the Conservative Party candidate, 782. Granger Anna Caroline, Liberal Democrat, 219. Lewis Nate, Coventry Citizens Party, 113. Parker Zoe, Trade Unionists and Socialist Coalition, 73. Patterson Anne Marie, common known as Patterson Anne, Green Party, 378. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows. 1 to the official mark, 0. Voting for more candidates than voter was entitled to, 2. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 6. Rejected in part, 0. Total 8. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate 11620. Ballot papers issued, 3,444. Turnout, 29.64%. And I do hereby declare that Pervez Akhtar is duly elected.
Friends, colleagues, I would like to say thank you to Julie Newman and our staff and to the police officers. They always do a marvelous job. And of course, thank you to my agent, Councillor Jane Innes, and her husband, Professor Matthew Innes. You vote for one and you get two. Both are very committed and dedicated to the Labour Party and to our city. A very special thank you to Jane for organising and running my campaign. Also, I want to say to my friend and ward colleague, Bali Singh, thank you for hard work and one of the best councillors in our city and best far as social media is concerned. I also want to thank all those active members in Woburley Ward for helping me campaign and helping me to win. But most importantly, I want to say thank you to all the residents of Woburley for re-electing me. It is a great honor and privilege to serve you, and I promise to continue giving you my best as always and to keep improving local conditions for all Woburley residents. Under Tory rule, we have seen our public services decimated, our communities neglected, and our country divided. We have seen terrible inequality, rising poverty, and the erosion of basic rights and freedoms. We have seen a government that is more interested in serving vested interests than serving the people. The only solution to the crisis that they have created is to scapegoat hard-working nurses and teachers who simply wish to live their lives with dignity and respect. Meanwhile, the Tory donors and fat cats who have used these crises to feather their own pockets continue to enjoy the fruits of their ill-gotten gains. But we can and will do better. As a Labour councillor, I pledge to fight for our community, to stand up against the forces of injustice and inequality, and to work tirelessly to build a better future for all. We know that building a fairer, more prosperous society is not easy, but it is essential. We need a government that is committed to investing in our public services, in our infrastructure, and in our people. We need a government that understands the only way to tackle the challenges we face is by taking unvested interests and putting the needs of the people first. Labour will do just that. We will focus on building up productive capacity in our community, training doctors and nurses, creating new high-quality jobs, and reducing inflation. We will invest in education, in healthcare, and in building more houses so people can live with dignity. We will prioritize the needs of working families, of young people, and those who have been left behind. Labour would choose to properly tax the excess profits of oil and gas giants, to freeze council tax for working people. The Tories have shown time and time again that they are not interested in governing for the many, but rather for the few. They have shown that they are more concerned with their own self-interest than with the well-being of the people they were elected to serve. While the Tories are fixated on cutting taxes for the wealthiest in our society, Labour would close tax loophole for super rich to fund the biggest expansion of the National Health Service workforce in history. We will work tirelessly to hold them to account, to expose their failings, and to fight for society where everyone can live with dignity and respect. Let's continue to fight for what is right and stand up for our values. Vote for Labour. Vote for Labour.
Declaration of result of poll Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Wayne Body on Thursday, 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Finlayson Rebecca Ann, commonly known as Finlayson Becky, Green Party, 271. Hancock Adam Jack, Coventry Citizens Party, 86. Mia Mohammed Badshah, the Labour Party candidate, 1,375. Moorshead James Frederick, Liberal Democrat, 213. Sorden Timothy Winspear, commonly known as Sorden Tim, The Conservative Party candidate, 1,874. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows: 1 for official mark, 0, voting for more than one candidate, 0, writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0, being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 5, rejected in part, 0, total 5. Vacant seats 1, electorate 10092, ballot papers issued 3,824. Turnout was 37.89%. And I do hereby declare that Timothy Winspear Sorden is duly elected.
Can I first of all thank you, Julie, and your staff who've worked so hard, both throughout the day and this evening, to enable us to have such an excellent result. Could I also thank my agent, John Blundell, and in fact all of Team Tim who've helped me so much in the last few weeks. Could I particularly thank my wife, Nikki, who's had to put up with a grumpy candidate for months on end, and I promise I'll behave better from now on. As always, I pledge myself to serve all of the constituents of Wayne Body, whether they voted for me or not. And finally, can I say that I will continue to hold to account the most hopeless Labour administration I've ever known in my 49 years as a councillor in Coventry. Thank you very much.
Result of poll Coventry, election of a city councillor for Woodlands on Thursday, 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Davis Sarah Stephanie, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 83. Male Peter Roger, Conservative Party candidate, 2,093. Perryman Mark James, Liberal Democrat, 269. Ryder Neil Raymond, Labour and Cooperative Party, 1,325. Sim Leslie Clare, Green Party, 228. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows. Want of an official mark, 0. Voting for more candidates than voter was entitled to, 1. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked a wholly void for uncertainty, 16. Rejected in part, 0. Total 17. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate 13751. Ballot papers issued 4,015. Turnaround 29.20%. And I do hereby declare that Peter Roger Mayle is duly elected.
Is that okay, yeah? I'd just like to say thank you to everybody in Woodlands Ward who have voted for me this evening and put their trust in me to serve for a further 3 years. I'd also like to say thank you to my helping team of Jane, Mal and Jude, and Gary, my fellow colleague, and a special thank you to my agent and also ward colleague, Julia Lepoidovan, who has pounded the streets with me to help me earn this fantastic victory. I look forward to working in Woodlands Ward for the next 3 years, and I also look forward, Jim, to seeing you in the chamber next year. Thank you, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next declaration is for Westwood Ward.
Declaration of result of poll Coventry, election of a city councillor for Westwood on Thursday, the 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Orlock Randir Kaur, Labour Party, 1,397. Donnelly James Richard, commonly known as Donnelly Jim, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 64. Lapsa Marcus Edgar, the Conservative Party candidate, 1,689. Marshall Jessica Mary, Green Party, 243. Simpson James Peter, commonly known as Simpson Jamie, Liberal Democrat 196. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows: want of official mark 0, voting for more candidates than voters was entitled to 3, writing or mark by which voter could be identified 0, being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty 14, rejected in part 0, total 17. Vacant seats 1, electorate 13923, ballot papers issued 3,605, turnout 25.89%. And I do hereby declare that Marcus Edgar Lapsar is duly elected.
Good evening, everybody. And I know it's been a long, long night, and I would like to thank the returning officers and all the counters that have worked so hard this evening. I would also like to thank everybody in Westwood Ward that voted for me and those that didn't. But looking at the result, then it shows that hard work does pay off. And I always say that I am a local resident within Westwood Ward. I am local, other than some of the candidates that put themselves forward. I will say commiserations to my nearest rival, Dr. Orlock. I know she's upset, and she might be upset with me. But I think more than anything, she's upset with a Labour Party, the local Labour Party, for deselecting her in Upper Stoke, and then she stood in Westwood. The thing is, in Westwood, we work hard. And as a Conservative team, and I would like to thank my colleague, Councillor Ashton Massey, everybody within the Conservative Association, Coventry Association, that has helped me and given me so much support. Labour tried to throw everything at us. It didn't work because, as Coventry Conservatives, we work all year round, not just at election time. And this result shows it, and I do thank everybody in Westwood, and I will say it now and I'll say it every single day for the next 3 years. I am available, I am contactable, and I will work hard for Westwood residents. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next declaration will be for Earlsdon Ward. That's Earlsdon Ward declaration coming shortly.
Declaration of results of poll Coventry, election of a city councillor for Earlsdon. on Thursday the 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Baxter Cameron Ewart, Coventry Citizens Party, 148. Finlayson John David Campbell, Green Party, 350. Gittins Rebecca, commonly known as Gittins Becky, Labour and Cooperative Party, 2,627. Harmsworth Adam Joachim, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 66. Raymond Zaid, the Conservative Party candidate, 1,467. Richmond Stephen John, Liberal Democrat, 367. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows: want of official mark, 0. Voting for more one candidates than voter was entitled to, 1. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 16. Rejected in part, 0. Total, 17. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate, 11888. Ballot papers issued, 5,045. Turnout was 42.44%. And I do hereby declare that Rebecca Gittins is duly elected.
I'd firstly like to thank the returning officer and all of the staff that have made this evening possible and run relatively without a hitch, especially given the number of counts and recounts we've had with lots of tension from all of the different parties. I think they've all handled it incredibly well and made it as nice as it possibly could be for all of those of us standing. My thank yous continue. I would just like to say a big thank you to all of the Earlsdon Labour members that have helped campaign in what is always a difficult election. We always fight Earlsdon as a marginal seat. We know how hard it was to win. We know how hard it is to keep, and we will never be complacent with that. My biggest thanks go to Miles Mackey, the most fantastic agent, and to Kindy and Anthony, my ward colleagues. It's been an absolute privilege to serve Earlsdon for the past 4 years after a shock win in 2019 with the majority of just 104 votes. I felt the weight of the trust that was placed in me very, very strongly, and I hope I've shown Earlsdon residents the difference that Labour can make alongside my colleagues. The work that we do in Earlsdon is due in part to the work that we're able to do with local residents associations, to different organisations, groups, local businesses, schools, and you know, everyday residents, the people that do their speed watches, the people that do their litter picking, the Friends of the Park groups. We are so lucky to have such a thriving, active community that really, really care about our ward. So thank you to everyone in Earlsdon, to all of those Earlsdon residents, for putting your faith once again in myself and the Earlsdon team, and we hope to do you proud for this next term. So thank you very much.
Of Poll, Coventry, election of the City Councillor for Sherborne on Thursday the 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Fogden Terry Louise, Coventry Citizens Party, 100. Lloyd Gavin, Labour Party, 1,444. Nellis Jane Elizabeth, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 115. Priestley David Neal, Green Party, 253. Smith Stephen James, the Conservative Party candidate, 1,423. Spence Caroline Dorothy Solange, Liberal Democrat, 150. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows. Want of an official mark, 0. Voting for more candidates than voter was entitled to, 0. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 10. Rejected in part, 0. Total, 10. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate, 12152. Ballot papers issued, 3,495, and turnout was 28.76%. And I do hereby declare that Gavin Lloyd is duly elected.
Colleagues, friends, Labour Party members in particular, we've just had probably the greatest rant of all time on this stage from a Conservative who has quoted the immortal line of the worst ever failing Labour administration. How bad must they be? They can't even beat us, colleagues. Says it all. I want to thank the police for keeping us all safe and well. I want to thank George Duggins as our leader, Abdul Khan as our deputy leader, every single member of Coventry City Council that's in this room, including our IT staff who go completely by the wayside, making sure all of this operation works. I'm glad to say so far that beautiful Teams error message hasn't popped up, so they're doing a cracking job this evening. It's been fantastic for all of the counters that unfortunately have now all left. But the biggest thing is Sherborne residents, colleagues, have said very clearly, no more fibs. We want to know the truth. They've had the truth, and that's exactly what they voted on the local issues. Finally, colleagues, Agent Francis Crane, absolute star, and many, many moons, best agent in Coventry, don't care what anyone says. Big thanks to all colleagues that came over into Sherborne, the Longford team, the Upper Stoke team, the Lower Stoke team, the Coventry North East team, the Coventry North West, the Coventry South team, etc. Every single one of you are phenomenal, fantastic people, and appreciate every single one of you. The final thank you, colleagues, is to Seamus Welsh, who obviously is no longer with us. And that man taught every single one of us in here what honest humanity looks like, and they're principles that I hope to continue into Sherborne. Cheers all.
Result of poll Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Binley and Willenhall on Thursday the 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Cowley Paul, Coventry Citizens Party, 970. Fitzgerald Marianne Angela, Alliance for Democracy and Freedom, 110. Laka Ram Parkash, Labour Party, 1,380. Morgan Michael James, Trade Unions and Socialist Coalition, 47. Majija OJ Akwethe Jennifer, commonly known as OJ Akwiva Jennifer, the Conservative Party candidate, 540. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows. Want of an official mark, 0. Voting for more candidates than voter was entitled to, 5. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 12. Rejected in part, 0. Total, 17. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate, 13226. Ballot papers issued, 3,064. Turnout, 23.17%. And I do hereby declare that Ram Parkesh Laka is duly elected.
Good morning, colleagues. I think this is my 11th time standing on this place and saying thank you for winning the elections. Out of those 11, 10, I miss one good rough friend today, specifically. He was always here with me in the last 10 elections, my good friend John Mutton. I miss him. But also at the same time, I am also very proud that these 10 elections, I've got the same person who stood by me all the time, and I thank her, that's Mal Mutton. Thank you, Mal, for this friendship. So she's for me, she's the engine in Binley and Willenhall Labour Party who carried on doing everything for us. And obviously sometimes I just pester into and suddenly go and everything cup and tea and everything goes there. So thank you, Mal. I'm very grateful for your support all the way, being one of the best friends I can publicly say, I have said many times, I can rely on. So that's thank you very much. Obviously, I was saying earlier privately to Julie, and two Julies, I should say. Julie has been one of my favorite officers since sometimes. As a returning officer, I'm very grateful to you, Julie, and all the staff who did the work. And also, I also thank the staff which were there during the counting, sitting in boring places, and sometimes because of the ID problems, arguing with people or trying to be as best as can to say people it's not our doing, it's the government who messed it up. So I thank all those staff who worked on those booths and kept their calm and delivered what they were supposed to do. And apart from, I'm not going to make political speeches, there's a number of people who did it. It's a bit late night. So, but I must say the names of those people who I am so grateful for their support. Obviously, my two ward colleagues, councillors. Apart from that, the chair of the ward, Andrew, and Mahinder Singh Tada, who stood by me all the time. Thank you, Mr. Tada. Thank you very much for your very active support. I think I should not miss the secretary of the ward, Lukia. Thank you very much. I know it's difficult for you staying late, and I'm very grateful being a soldier of my team. And I shouldn't miss, I was saying earlier, Zara Sultana, and I was joking around with her, and she was there with me in the morning, so it's great to say, well, thank you, Zara, being part of my team. And and more, one person, perhaps unusual, I said previously in the last 4 years ago, same thing. Lindsley Howard, I'm not sure whether he's still here. I do thank you from the core of my heart, because some of the things you do, number crunching and so on with all the IT, because I'm completely useless on these things, and he does it. And it's great that a person like Lindsley on the back supporting us. I am very, very grateful for that. And I know us, I've got a young friend, new friend, Sunny, who was there, and his dad delivering the leaflets. Apart from that, many colleagues who helped in Binley and Villanole supported, and more than everything else, the voters of Binley who trusted me for over 32 years and keep putting their trust in me. I'm very grateful for them for keep me doing what I do and trusting me what I do. And it's a great honor for that long being trusted by the people. I know there was a mischief done by politically, and somebody made the issue of this, Ram Lakha is closing the Haggard. Being a chairman, that doesn't mean that it was true, but it went viral sort of in the ward. It has costed a few votes, but that's called dirty politics. And there was no issue of me taking any action to close the Haggard, and I'll fight my tooth and nail to keep it going as far as I can to serve the local community. I think I also should say the other colleagues who were from the various parties, I do thank them for putting up, at least to keep me on the toes, so I can carry on working for Binley and Villanole, perhaps wider community as well, which I do. And I'm very grateful for today and all the officers who did the work. And I may not have written speech, which I don't usually keep bragging on, so I'd rather stop. And thank you very much. It's time to go back home. And once again, Julie and your staff, I'm very, very grateful to you. Thank you.
Declaration of result of poll Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Holbrook on Thursday, 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Ballinger Michael Arthur, commonly known as Ballinger Mike, the Conservative Party candidate, 396. Hensman Lakshman James, commonly known as Hensman Jim, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 60. Kelly Lynette Catherine, Labour and Cooperative Party, 1,487. Reeves Esther Mary, Green Party, 1,566. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows: want of an official mark, 3, voting for more candidates than voter was entitled to, 7, writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 1, being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 7, rejected in part, 0, total 18. Vacant seats, 1, electorate 13619, ballot papers issued 3,527, and turnout was 25.90%. And I do hereby declare that Esther Mary Reeves is duly elected.
I want to thank everybody here on the count team and in the polling stations who have worked so hard to make this election run so smoothly. I want to thank my family for supporting me, as well as our campaign team and all the volunteers who've helped over the election period and year long in the ward. Special mention should go to Stephen and Anne, who've both had to contend with recovering from operations this year, but have continued to support me as much as they can. I think it's really important to thank everyone who voted for me and has been very supportive on the doorsteps over the last weeks. It's been wonderful to meet so many people in Holbrooks over the last year, and I will continue to be around the ward on a regular basis to talk to anyone who has issues they want to raise or suggestions on how we can improve things in the area. I'm very proud to become Holbrooks and Coventry's second Green councillor. This means we now have a Green group on the council. Only took us half a century to do it, but it means we can get more involved in the aspects of the council. I think it's really important, if we believe in true democracy, that people think they have more than two options to vote for, because so many people think they can only vote for one of the two main parties. And if we want a proper democracy, we need more options than that. I think it's getting late, and I'm sure all of us want to go to bed fairly soon, so I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Declaration result of poll Coventry, election of a City Councillor for Bablake on Thursday the 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each councillor candidate at the said election is as follows. Christopher Beatrice, Labour and Cooperative Party, 1,393. Field Russell David, Liberal Democrat, 186. Jandu Talakan Singh, Conservative Party candidate, 1,770. Middleton Anthony Arthur, commonly known as Middleton Tony, Coventry Citizens Party, 180. Webb Niall Martin James, Green Party, 283. Woodley Edward James William, commonly known as Woodley Ted, Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, 20. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows. Want of an official mark, 0. Voting for more candidates than voter was entitled to, 3. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 5. Rejected in part, 0. Total 8. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate 13265. Ballot papers issued, 3,840. Turnout 28.95%. And I do hereby declare that Talakan Singh Jandu is duly elected.
Returning officer, ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely humbled to have been duly re-elected councillor for Bablake Ward. First of all, I would like to thank all residents who put their faith in me and voted for me. I promise to continue working hard for the betterment of Bablake Ward and all its residents. I promise to continue supporting ward residents and oppose inappropriate build on greenbelt, greenfield sites, and press for brownfield first approach. Once again, I'd like to thank all those who voted for me. A big thank you to my party, all councillors, colleagues, activists, and members of the party for their ongoing support. A big thank you to my agent, Councillor Birdie, for his unreserved support. Also, thank you to Councillor Keel, Director, Mr. Sohal, International Financier, UAE, Poet, Mr. Raja Tariq, and Unique, Mr. Bachu, and Mr. Berry. Thank you to my family and friends too. I would like to congratulate Lord Mayor-elect, Councillor Jaswant Singh Birdie as well. Finally, thank you to returning officer and all the staff here tonight for their hard work. Thank you.
Declaration of result of poll Coventry. Election of a City Councillor for Charlesmore on Thursday, 4th of May 2023. I, Julie Newman, being the returning officer at the above election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the said election is as follows. Brown Richard James, Labour Party, 1,671. Griffiths Eleanor Elizabeth, commonly known as Griffiths Judy, Trade Unions and Socialist Coalition, 53. Kangora Amarjit Singh, the Conservative Party candidate, 1,487. Richmond Anna, Liberal Democrat, 174. Stringfellow Ian, Coventry Citizens Party, 124. Tetlow Bruce Raymond, Green Party, 263. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows. Want of an official mark, 0. Voting for more candidates than voter was entitled to, 3. Writing or mark by which voter could be identified, 0. Being unmarked or wholly void for uncertainty, 13. Rejected in part, 0. Total, 16. Vacant seats, 1. Electorate, 11860. Ballot papers issued, 3,789. Turnout was 31.95%. And I do hereby declare that Richard James Brown is duly elected.
They always save the best till last, don't they? Absolutely. First thing I need to do is thank Paul Jennings, because he's written my speech. He has assured me it's only 5 minutes shorter than a normal budget speech. So thank you for staying on. What I would like to do is like everybody else, thank all the staff here. It's been a long night, but I can't thank them enough. I'd like to thank the candidates. I'd like to mention a few people. My amazing agent, Jane, who unfortunately is quite ill and couldn't be here tonight. But I'd like to mention and thank Vince, Jim, and Kate for the amazing work they've done to help me get here tonight. And also, I've been quite overwhelmed at times by the support I've received from all other areas. It has been brilliant. Special thanks to John Mack and all the Lower Stoke team. They have been absolutely amazing. And I can't thank Spiderlegs Dave Seaman enough for some of the work that he's done for me as well. I promised to keep this short, and I will do. It's 9 years now that I've been in Charlesmore. I thank the voters of Charlesmore. I only ever promised them two things right from the word go, and that was integrity and hard work. And I'm not changing that. I'm not going to change that. I will keep doing that and continue to work hard for all the people of Charlesmore. And I think this is a good result for us. It's a good result for Labour. So thank you very much.